Hello and welcome to More to Explore, where Mike and I keep you up to date with everything happening here on explore.org. And of course, the big news is that we have our first bald eagle eggs of the season at the Sauce's Nest, which we're looking at live right now. And we'll find out more about that soon with Egg Watch, and we have more stories of potential live events and more on two positions that explore.org is hiring for. So let's get to it. My name is Brian Bird, and to help us learn more about the wildlife we see on the live cans, I am joined by explore.org's resident naturalist, Mike Fitz. Mike, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Brian. Good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you happen to be around the world. I'm happy to be here once again. And if you're new to explore.org, welcome to the community and welcome back to all of our longtime viewers. We're the world's largest live nature cam network with about 200 live cameras all over the world. We want to know what cams you're watching this week or have been watching. If you have questions for us as well, drop those in the comments. We'll be looking for those during the broadcast. And as I was planning today's program, I was thinking about what the late winter season represents. This view right here, looking at Santa Cruz Island in the Channel Islands, it looks pretty mild, but much of North America still locked in winter. In fact, where I am, there's plenty of snow on the ground. The rivers and lakes, they're frozen, but there are signs that the land will soon awaken from its dormancy. The sun is higher in the sky. Like I can notice that week by week easily, especially at midday. Sunset also, it comes an hour later than it did this time last month. If I look and listen carefully, I can see hairy woodpeckers drumming on the trees. They're beginning to establish their nesting territories. So the bird nesting season is just sort of beginning in my area. These events in part represent, I think, a promise of change and the potential of the year. A bird egg, in fact, is also a representation of the ideas of potential as well as the parents' dedication and effort. I think we're going to focus a lot on that idea today, the idea of potential and how wildlife cams and the wildlife that we see on them fit into that idea. So we've decided to begin our program by highlighting the Sauces Canyon bald eagle nest on Santa Cruz Island in Channel Islands National Park. The female of this nest, Audacity, laid her first egg on January 31. So we want to talk more about that, Brian, because there's a lot of things that we know about this nest and a lot of things we don't know.
Definitely. Now let's revisit their story by jumping into our recurring segment, Egg Watch.
So this is our February 9, 2026 edition of Egg Watch, the part of the show where we check on the bird nesting activity of our myriad cams on explore.org. We usually don't start the show with this because, but with Jack and Audacity laying their first eggs of the year, we wanted to celebrate that occasion and also talk about what has been happening at the nest this year and in prior years. Jack and Audacity have been breeding on this territory since 2014. So this is on Santa Cruz Island in Channel Islands National Park. These birds are the products of the bald eagle restoration effort for the Channel Islands. They were born in captivity at the San Francisco Zoo and released on Santa Cruz Island as juveniles. Jack was released in 2005 and Audacity was released in 2006. Audacity and Jack, they are skilled parents. When their eggs hatch, their eaglets have a high rate of survival. The difficulty for them in recent years has been the incubation period. Audacity's eggs are unusually fragile. In 2017, for example, Audacity laid 8 eggs. All of them broke. In 2023, they experienced the same scenario. They laid 8 eggs, none hatched. Their single eaglet that they raised at this nest in 2025, Betty Lou, was the first eaglet they fledged since 2021. And that really is just because of the egg fragility. It's easy to suspect lingering DDT contamination in the area as the cause of Audacity's egg fragility. DDT interferes with the ability of eagles to create strong eggshells. Prior to the banning of DDT in the United States, hundreds of metric tons of DDT were dumped in the ocean near the Channel Islands. Its toxic byproducts remain there today, and that mess is causing real harm to wild animals. However, other female bald eagles in the Channel Islands haven't experienced broken eggs at the same rate as Audacity, despite those eagles having the same diet, being exposed to the same environmental conditions. So perhaps there are other factors at play. Maybe there's something specific to Audacity herself that makes her eggs especially fragile. Unfortunately, we don't have an answer. So what's been going on at the nest so far this year? There have been 3 eggs laid. The first one was laid on January 31, the second one on February 3rd, and the third on February 6th. One egg broke overnight on February 4. I'm not sure if we know if it was the first or the second egg laid. I think a lot of people suspect it was the second of the clutch. The third egg broke about 2.5 hours after it was laid. So one egg survives in the nest, which is good news. If it has remained intact this long into the incubation period, then it might be durable enough to survive the incubation period. So if it does survive incubation and it's viable, we're looking at maybe an early to mid-March hatch at this nest, maybe somewhere around the very end of the last week of March going into mid-March. Wild animals, they face a lot of challenges, and reproduction is often one of the most challenging endeavors any vertebrate will experience. Audacity and Jack's commitment to their territory and eggs is an example of the potential for life to succeed despite the challenges and the odds. And we want to thank our partner at this webcam, the Institute for Wildlife Studies, for helping us live stream these amazing eagles.
Yeah, we're definitely rooting for Audacity and Jack, and we'll be following their progress throughout the spring season. But Mike, we also are watching our other nests of eagles that may be soon to have eggs.
That's right. Yeah. Any day now, really. We could have eggs at the Fraser Point nest with Andor and Cruz. That's also in Channel Islands National Park on Santa Cruz Island. Last year, they laid their first egg on February 13. Usually, if there's no turnover within the breeding territory, they're the same eagles. They're going to follow roughly the same reproductive schedule. So they laid an egg February 13 last year. An egg will be coming up pretty soon, or should be anyway. And then heading to the mid-continent of North America at the Decorah North Nest in Iowa with Mr. North and DNF. They laid their first egg of 2025 on February 11th. So they could have an egg in that nest any day now as well. So that's what's going on with our eagles. We want to head south, though. Let's head south of the equator to Patagonia Azul Provincial Park, check in Argentina to check on the birds and the activity there. The last few months, we've been watching the Magellanic penguins on Isla Tova and expecting them to leave the nest soon, and they have done so. So these eggs hatched in late November, and the chicks, I don't know what you call a baby penguin, Brian. I should have looked that up. Do you know? Penguins, whatever they are. Anyway, they are fledged. They left the nest on February 1 and 2. You may catch a view on this camera of other young penguins in the vicinity, but they have left the nest. So congratulations to them. We wish them really good luck. And Brian, maybe we can let this clip play here, because this is one I pulled from, I think, last week. I think this bird just ends up doing its version of the zoomies. Is that?
100%. That is exactly why I pulled this one. Let's see if I can come just a little forward.
And it's almost like it's just practicing what it wants to do in the water, but hasn't got there yet. At a point in time in this clip, it just goes back and forth like an excited puppy, bumping into things. And this went on for several minutes too. I actually kind of really enjoyed watching this. So just a young bird having fun, feeling energetic. Hopefully it's doing well on the shoreline or out in the ocean where we can't currently see them. But yeah, congratulations to mom and dad at this nest. Congratulations to those young chicks. Hopefully they're doing well. The southern giant petrels, they're going to be on their nests for a little while longer now. Their chicks began hatching around Christmas Day, and they stay in their nesting areas for a long period of time. They're one of those slow to develop and mature birds. So chicks fledge in about 104 to 132 days, I've read. So we still have some time with them. I think they're maybe going to leave the nesting area in late March, maybe very early April. The imperial cormorants, though, they are fledging right now, and there's not many young ones remaining. They began hatching in early December, and they're fledging right now. Our camera view has also turned recently to show the ocean, and we're getting some sea lions moving through this colony. So it's a really cool view to go check out this nesting bird colony. Lots of stuff going on there. And you can watch these and other nests every day on explore.org. We're going to add many other birds to our Egg Watch segment in the near future. Brian, I'm looking forward to some of these other nests that we're going to add to our Egg Watch segment. And right now, there's a couple of nests in particular that we're really looking forward to.
Yeah, for sure. And getting back to the point about eggs representing the idea of potential, the California condors fought back from the brink of extinction with the help of many dedicated people and organizations. The chances that we'll be able to watch life begin for a new condor are actually looking pretty good. And another reason to have hope for the species.
Many of our viewers are familiar with the plight of California condors, but even so, it bears repeating. In 1987, there were only 26 California condors in existence anywhere. So that's just not like in the wild or in one population or in one flock. That's the entire global population, just 26 of them. Intense captive breeding efforts and strict protections for wild condors staved off their extinction. According to our webcam partner for the condors, the Ventana Wildlife Society, 364 birds live in the wild now, and the total condor population, including captive birds, is 561. So we're seeing the condor populations slowly recover, and as part of that effort, of course, is watching the success of wild birds. And we are closely watching a cavity in a redwood tree on the Big Sur coast of California, where two birds might lay an egg later this year. And we have a camera in this nesting cavity. The female at this nest is number 646. Her wing tags are purple 46. This is Kodama, who is the offspring of Big Sur royalty, really, because she is the offspring of Kingpin and Redwood Queen, who for a long time were the dominant pair on in the Big Sur flock. And Kodama hatched from a wild nest in Big Sur in April 2012. The bird that she seems to be partnering with is Ferdinand. He's 652, purple 52 on his wing tags. The Ventana Wildlife Society describes him as a particularly large condor with a sweet and mellow disposition. His father is a really important bird in the overall recovery of California condors. Topa Topa is his name, and he is 60 years old. He lives at the Los Angeles Zoo, and he's one of the largest condors on record. And he has a lot of genes out there in the wild population now. So he has been one of those birds whose legacy lives on in a lot of these wild birds. Ferdinand hatched at the Los Angeles Zoo in May 2012. If they lay an egg in this nesting cavity here, then incubation usually lasts about 57 days, give or take a day or three on either end of that. And thanks to our webcam partner at the Ventana Wildlife Society for making this cam a reality. Every year brings hope and potential for flocks of California condors.
Definitely. But excuse me. But California condors aren't the only critically endangered bird that we can watch on Explored.org. And we are eagerly watching a mountain almond tree in Costa Rica, where we see a pair of green macaws who may soon lay their egg.
Yes, we've been watching a pair of great green macaws visiting this nesting cavity in their favorite mountain almond tree for several weeks now, actually maybe going back as far back as November. But the courtship process for great green macaws can be extensive, sometimes lasting months before they lay an egg. Bonding can be maybe as early as October and November in this species, and there's no egg in the nesting cavity visible yet. And I don't think people have seen any confirmation of nesting behavior or egg laying in the cavity yet. But watch closely. It could happen any day now. I'm hopeful for the opportunity to watch this pair incubate eggs in the near future and grow for or care for a growing family. According to our webcam partner, the Macaw Recovery Network, The global wild population of this species is perhaps as few as 500 to 1,000 individuals, with 400 to 600 of them living in Costa Rica. So the survival of every individual is vital for the species' long-term survival. They are just as rare as condors. The opportunity to watch these birds raise a family, it's going to be a special privilege for us. And the window for an egg at this macaw nest may not close until June. These birds represent hope and potential for the future of their species.
I know, it's very exciting to see. Hopefully we will see an egg soon. And Mike, close to your corner of the world, we're watching young seals on a remote island making big transitions in their lives as well.
That's right. And, you can definitely see a lot of eagles on this camera, but we're going to move away from birds for just a minute and talk about some mammals, because the world is becoming a whole lot bigger for young gray seals. On Seal Island, which is a national wildlife refuge about 24 miles southeast of Rockland, Maine, gray seals come to shore in late fall and early winter to give birth. We're well past that point in the reproductive cycle. So right now we're watching the few remaining seal pups get ready to enter the ocean for the first time. The young pups, they'll suckle mother's milk for about 2 weeks. All this time, the pups get fatter and fatter. Mother's milk is especially rich. It's something like 60% fat. She also produces milk at an exceptional rate. One estimate puts her milk output at 3.2 kilograms per day. That's 7 pounds of milk. And remember that a gallon of water weighs 8 pounds. So she's producing almost a gallon of milk for her pups per day. Really incredible. I think I would even gain weight pretty rapidly on that diet. A seal pup, though, might gain 3 to 4 pounds of body mass per day on mother's milk. After the pup is weaned, though, their mother leaves the island and the pups receive no more parental care. So they're sort of just hanging out, exploring their surroundings, gaining mobility, and their bodies, their digestive systems are maturing at the same time. They need about 3 to 4 more weeks before they're ready to enter the ocean. At this point of the year, so we're talking to you right now, February 9, nearly all the seal pups have left the island. Every once in a while, though, our sharp-eyed camera operators will catch a sight of a seal pup entering the water for the first time. In those moments, perhaps the pups are feeling their own pinniped version of excitement or trepidation. From my perspective, those scenes evoke a sense of freedom and possibility. And I always love imagining what it's like to be an animal taking its first steps, so to speak, into a new world. After all, if a baby animal is anything, it is, I think, a representation of possibility. And we can link the ideas of potential and possibility to other animals who are just beginning their lives as well. This is the time of the year when brown bears are born. A bear cub, its birth represents potential for the future, as well as a time to really to consider the remarkable adaptations of mother bears. So I want to know from our audience, is there a bear that you want to wish a happy birthday to? Brown, black bear, another bear, somewhere else? Let us know in the comments. And while you let us know, we are going to explore the birth of a brown bear.
In the depths of winter, mother brown bears give birth to especially tiny babies. Newborn bear cubs are born about the size and weight of a can of soup. It may be difficult to envision the mighty brown bear as such a small and vulnerable creature, but they all start life this way. Hey everyone, this is Mike Vitz with Explore.org. Let's take a few moments to explore the birth of a brown bear, an event that reveals the finely tuned adaptations that allow bear families to survive winter in safety and good health. Brown bears are born in late January and early February. At birth, cubs weigh about 1 pound and measure only 8 to 9 inches long. They are lightly furred, their ears are closed, and their short muzzles contain toothless mouths. Their bodies at this time are so underdeveloped that they can't maintain their own body temperature. To stay warm, cubs must remain in near constant contact with mother for the first 2 to 3 weeks of life. Without mother's care and attention, Newborn cubs are exceptionally vulnerable to hypothermia, dehydration, and starvation. Yet their small birth size is entirely purposeful. It allows the mother bear to sustain the development and growth of her cubs at a time of year when her body remains in a state of hibernation. Hibernation poses some unique metabolic and physiologic challenges for a mother bear. When hibernating, she does not have access to food or water, nor does she urinate or defecate. With hibernation lasting several months, her body must house all the energy necessary to sustain her survival as well as that of her expectant cubs. How does she do it? Body fat fuels a bear's wintertime survival. It provides the energy to keep a bear warm and the metabolic water necessary to keep it hydrated. Bears get really fat before hibernating, but the growth of a mammal fetus, including a fetal bear, is largely sustained with sugar and protein. Because a mother bear hibernates while she gestates her cubs, she lacks a surplus of body protein and sugar to feed cubs growing in the womb. Fetuses also produce bodily waste, which are transferred to mother through the umbilical cord and add to the physiological difficulties of her hibernation cycle. To overcome these challenges, a mother bear gestates her cubs for a short time, only 6 to 8 weeks. After they are born, cubs feed and grow on milk, which is an energy source that mother can produce in abundance from her ample body fat. The switch from feeding cubs in the womb through the placenta to milk sourced from body fat allows the mother bear to preserve her lean tissue and sugar while she supports the continued growth of her cubs. Milk is the perfect food for young bear cubs, and they grow rapidly on it. Cubs often weigh 5 pounds at 1 month old, and by the time they emerge from the den in mid to late spring, they can weigh 15 pounds or more. Near the end of January or in early February, take a moment to wish your favorite bear a happy birthday. The midwinter birth of a brown bear is timed perfectly. Cubs are born purposefully premature inside a den that serves as a surrogate womb. It is an ideal setting for cubs to grow and mature in safety and comfort.
Imagine the future adventures newborn bear cubs will have, and future eagles as well. Each one of them, within each one of them exists the potential for a long life of adventure and success. I saw that there were a couple of comments from people wishing Bear 901 happy birthday. So Baroness von Sploot wanted to wish Bear 901 a happy birthday, and Sergeant Pepper wrote in and said, "I'm sure 480 Otis has grandbears or great grandbears being born. Welcome to the world." Yes, absolutely. And again, this would have been around the time that Otis would have been born as well. So that's one of the cool things about bears. It's really within like a few week window they're all born. It's unlike bald eagles. Again, looking at the Sauces Canyon nest right here, where the eggs are laid in late January, early February, and breeding eagles are doing their thing, laying eggs, like in parts of Florida, for instance. But up north, the further north you go, it's kind of like the later and later in the year, eagles are going to be nesting. So it's a wide range of nesting times for these animals. And of course, we look forward to the return of the bears on Exploded Org each summer, Brian. We're looking forward to more eagle eggs. And we're also looking toward almost the end of the season for some of our other winter-based wildlife camps.
Yeah, and especially on the theme of potential, I know you're also thinking of the idea of possibility as it relates to manatees.
We're at peak manatee time on the webcams with Save the Manatee Club. The farther toward spring in North America that we progress, the fewer manatees will remain at their wintertime warm water refuges. A tendency, there's within each animal exists a tendency to explore, and this is perhaps a universal trait among mammals and probably among all non-human animals. The urge to explore probably varies as much among manatees as it does among people. Some manatees are homebodies with much smaller home ranges. Others like to travel farther. Manatees who spend the winter in Florida, they can venture as far as coastal Texas to the west and Massachusetts to the north. So imagine you're a manatee What possibilities might open for you as water temperatures increase and you're no longer restricted to a limited area to stay warm? What potential exists for you? They're congregating at these freshwater springs in wintertime because those consistent water temperatures in the upper 60s of those springs provide manatees with refuge during the wintertime. When water temperatures are really kind of below the mid 60s, manatees are subject to cold stress and hypothermia. Once those water temperatures warm, though, they can begin to disperse and go elsewhere. So I'm always curious about what they're thinking as they're moving away. Do they know it's the right time of the year to do it? Probably. How far are they going to go? I wonder if they know, because I certainly don't. But that would be fascinating to know as well. Manatees, they can't predict the weather, but Groundhog Day was just last Monday. And Punxsutawney Phil once again predicted 6 more weeks of winter. I think he mostly plays the averages, which is why he's often correct. But I'm not going to predict weather like he does. I will predict another special year of wildlife watching on Explored.org's webcams. I'd like the webcam viewers to consider the potential of the wildlife we watch on Explored.org. For some individuals, it is the potential of a new life and the adventures that it might have. For others, the potential exists in parallel with the hope that their species will recover from the brink of extinction.
Well said, Mike. And moving on, we do have some other live events coming up this week and next. Of course, on Tuesdays, we have our Africam show if you feel like going on a live African safari. And Thursdays, we do have the Wild Moment show looking at all the best clips of the Africam cameras. And Mike, this will be the second one that we'll do, but this Wednesday, February 11 at 11 a.m. Pacific, we'll be doing another Utopia Village play-by-play. The last one was a lot of fun, and definitely join us for another one this Wednesday. February 23rd will be the next More to Explore episode. And if you did miss it, speaking of manatees, we did have the Manatees and Their Resilience live chat with Cora Bertram from Save the Manatee Club. It was a great chat. Definitely check out that replay. And Mike, we also have another exciting announcement that we actually have a few job openings at Explored.org.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. This may be actually the first time we've wrong. I've been part of the organization since its beginning, but I've been here since 2018. And at least this is the first time that we've hired or tried to hire a naturalist who's not me. So I'm really excited for this. Explored.org is hiring a bird naturalist and a writer-editor naturalist. So the bird naturalist would specialize in the interpretation of wildlife on our more than 70 bird-focused webcams. I mean, there's so many birds that we're looking at. I need some help. And I feel like I don't have quite the expertise in birds or ornithology to really make those experiences shine for our webcam audience. So we're looking for a little bit of help there. And then our writer-editor position is also kind of like a naturalist position. You would support the interpretive, editorial, and social media teams at Explored.org, talking about all of the activities going on our cameras. I'm really grateful every day for the opportunity to share meaningful wildlife and nature-based experiences with people around the world through our webcams. So a bird naturalist, a writer-editor, these positions will allow us to expand our online programming and outreach efforts in support of our webcam partners. So you can really help us reach more people around the world and create greater, stronger connections and communities for people who want to protect the planet alongside us. So I invite you to join our team. If you want more information and to apply, go to explored.org/jobs. Pay attention. You don't have to rush your application in today, but applications must be received by February 23rd, 2026.
And that is all the time that we have for this show. We're going to leave you back here at the Sauce's Nest with Jack and Audacity. And I want to give everybody a special thank you for joining us today, and a special thank you to our moderators and camera operators, and of course, my co-host, Mike Fitz. And join us next time for another episode of More to Explore on February 23. And until then, happy exploring.